missing something?
That's the superdelegate switch.
Okay. So it comes down to superdelegates. Now, if it appears Bernie's going to win California, we don't know by what kind of margin, how much does that affect things, do you think?
There's got to be more for the superdelegates are going to need either an indictment or evidence that there's going to be an indictment, I think, because they're not going to go against the candidate who has the most pledged delegates and won the popular vote.
All right. Well, I'm gonna read this just to make sure I understand what you're saying. So, last night, Bernie said a total of 694 delegates are at stake in 6 states with contest next Tuesday. No candidate will end up with the number of pledged delegates needed to win the nomination. Sanders told 7,800 people. So there were 7,800 people there last night. I don't know that anybody reported on that. The closed contest will mean that the selection of the nominee will fall to superdelegates, what we're talking about, those elected officials and other party brokers. And Bernie wins California. You don't think that's going to sway enough superdelegates? The momentum that's going on, the fact that everybody is saying she should be indicted, the pressure from mainstream media, you don't think that's...
Well, remember, at the same time as he's winning California, she's probably trouncing him in New Jersey. He hasn't even gone there. So,
well, we have Eddie. So I don't know what you're worried about. I'm relying on Eddie. Eddie's out there recruiting people for Bernie every day. So you just, and we have a lot of Eddies out there. So I have my hopes. All right. Well, let's see here. I'm curious. Do we have comment lines today, Jesse?
I'm doing comments right now. Me and Eric Free Parsons are doing comments today.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Eric Parsons, family, thank you very much. You're wonderful. By the way, we think we found a place. So, anyway, Eric, and thank you, Nico, very much for doing comments today. I don't know what happened to Bad, but I hope it's okay. So, you dropped this article in here, Scott. What the hell does Bernie Sanders think he's doing?
Yeah, from Steve Weissman, one of the other writers at Reader Supported News.
I see that.
And he's pointing out that there's definitely going to be a strong debate at the convention on the platform committee over Israel-Palestine.
Absolutely. And why? What just happened? I mean, we just got, 3 pro-Palestine? I'm so stupid on this whole thing because to me it's just people that need to live on land together. But he brought 3 people in that are pro-Palestine, and that screws everything up for Hillary's stuff, right? I mean, that kind of makes it difficult for her to move forward with her agenda, from what I'm reading.
Well, possibly. There's also Barbara Lee and Elijah Cummings that weren't on Bernie's list, and the other 2 on Bernie's list were probably so that's at least 7 votes. So it still could go in their favor.
Okay,
it could be 8-7.
Well, I mean, and it's not just votes. Really, what this article is alluding to is that Bernie's infiltrating the platform.
Yeah.
With some very progressive people. And this is what's interesting. So you and I have talked about the platform as not really meaning much, right? And it hasn't meant much in the past. It really doesn't mean much because it's not binding or anything. However, us new voter people, we don't know that. Platform means a bunch to me. Don't you tell me it doesn't mean anything. Just like when Scott tells us everybody, he's like, that's the way it is. Don't you tell me us that. I'm new to this democracy thing. And as far as I'm concerned, the platform means something. So what are they alluding to here about that? What's different with the platform with Bernie Sanders support?
Well, usually the platform takes on the issues that the candidate wants to run on, and it's usually a rubber stamp of whoever the nominee is going to be is pretty much controls the platform.
But in this case,
there's going to be a fight on the platform.
Right? And what does that do to Hillary? That makes her have to represent, at least in words, in public, the positions of the platform, right? And that's what's troublesome, I think, is where we're going. Because the people are, right? Is that
possibly? There's been a lot of great stuff in the platform in the past that candidates haven't necessarily totally run on.
I agree, but think about this. What happens? I mean, this is really cool because this is a totally different way to look at civil disobedience in the sense that if we go to the convention and listen, everybody, before I say all this stuff, this is not what I'm like thinking totally, because I'm still pretty angry, like more militant thinking in my mind. But we go to the convention, we change the platform to all these things, or try to get as many things changed the platform, and say, if you want our support, if you think you're going to win, if you actually think you're going to do this, we're going to hold you to this shit. Welcome to 2016 where we can. And we just prove that by destroying you in this election with the truth. So if you don't walk the talk as you run for the office, if we don't sense that you're genuine about it, and that you don't stand a chance. If you get elected and then you don't do the job this time, Scott, we the people are awake. I think that makes a difference this time. It might make a difference this time. How about that? What do you think?
It might. I think that the pragmatist or
no, not that, and you. No.
I think they still think that their power is entrenched and there's nothing that we can do about it.
Maybe. I don't think so much, and you know why I don't think that as much these days is based on the. I want to read the last two paragraphs of what this guy said, and then I want to show you a chart, Scott. Okay, it's the how pissed off are the people chart, basically. That's what. How close are we to real revolution chart is what it is. And you're saying we're pretty far off. People are still comfortable, but I want to show everybody that it's moved. This is the last two paragraphs of this article. Bernie himself has already raised money to defeat some of the party's leading lights, people like Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the party chairman who has done everything she could to help Hillary prevail. He's even pushing for the party to throw Deb under the bus before the convention, which party leaders may have to do to prevent an embarrassing protest against her on national television. That's a given. That's a given. They have to do that. That's basically the olive branch. You don't get rid of Debbie. You don't offer an olive branch. Right? You basically show up and put a big "fuck you" finger on the podium. That's what you do. Right? But most worryingly of all is the possibility that Bernie will use his speech at the convention to take leadership of the campaign against Donald Trump. If Trump wins, Hillary will be to blame. If Hillary wins, Bernie will take the credit. What a galling turnabout for Hillary that would be, especially after all her efforts and those of her friends to discredit Sanders and his highly independent supporters. And this is where we have them between a rock and a hard place. It forces, at least to some extent, walk the talk or make concessions. We are. If you really want to defeat Trump with this hillbot, it takes us, and that takes honesty and authenticity, things that we don't think you can deliver. Bernie gets in front, gets on that podium, and things aren't going well. You know yourself, Scott. You've heard Bernie speak. You've heard Hillary speak. Who's gonna rally the crowd? I don't know. We've got huge, and then we've got the real deal.
Yeah, Bernie's gonna rally the crowd, and I think there are a lot of the Bernie or busters. I think most of the Bernie and busters aren't millennials. I may be wrong, but that they're hardened, more radical Bernie supporters than the new voters, and I think those are the people. That's Bernie's chip. Bernie may not be able to convert John and some others to vote for Hillary, but I think he can move the millennials.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I think he'll move the newer voters, the younger voters, and the people that still believe in a transitional democracy of some slowness. Yes, I absolutely agree. And listen. I just want to make it clear right now. I'm not saying that that way doesn't have the possibility of working. It doesn't work fast enough for me. That's all. Yeah. I'm an impatient guy in general, and then you add climate change onto that with the dying planet, I become impatient and worried and irritated because we're not moving, right? So either way, Scott, we're going to win. I just don't like the slow method. I just don't like that method. It's just too clean. But
on an indictment, I don't think we get the fast method.
You're right. Without an indictment or without some kind of climate catastrophe or without a wild card, we don't get fast. All right, and we have to go with the damn slow 1 foot in. Okay, but we're making progress. We're making progress state by state. There's things happening all over the place. I'm seeing these little reports of victory all over, like what happened in Hawaii the other day, and they're challenging some boat thing in Wyoming. What's happening that's more important than not moving fast enough for John, Scott, is the fact that people are actively engaged in their democracy and trying to reverse the fuckery. That's encouraging. That's hopeful. It's slow, but it's encouraging and hopeful. It's just painfully fucking slow. But our government system is designed to be slow. That's part of it. It's not. Part of it is the fact that our government wants it to be that way, and part of it is the fact that it just hasn't been evolved to keep pace with things. It's just not. This is a good spot, I think. 193. Hi, everybody. I haven't seen this clip, but Scott, you said that this Tim Robbins, Rosario Dawson, Greg Palast was a good lead into this. What are they talking about here? I mean, what is this thing?
Way the system is rigged.
No, that couldn't possibly be pertinent. Let's run it, guys. So this is 8 minutes. 9 minutes. 9 minutes of Tim Robbins, Rosario Dawson, and Greg Palast on Bernie, Trump, and vote them, which is what we've got going on right now. We've got a rigged system, and no matter what you want to look at in terms of specifics or whatever, and what you think happened or didn't happen, the truth is that it shouldn't be this hard. It just, in general, it shouldn't be this hard to cast a vote. It shouldn't be this hard to participate in our democracy. So we're going to listen to these guys talk about what's going on, and maybe offer a ray of hope. I don't know. Maybe not. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all here.
Wouldn't that be a good thing to tell people, that there's all these thousands of people coming out to support a candidate that supports a peaceful message about sharing information and getting out there and working for your community? Isn't that a good narrative to be putting out there? But instead, all we've been getting the last 3 months is this negative, racist narrative of Donald Trump. And non-stop coverage of this. And you really have to ask yourself the question, why? Why are we receiving this narrative so strongly? What is the end goal? This begs the question, why would people with power in this country be okay with a xenophobic racist as president of the United States? That's really the question we have to ask ourselves when we look at the mainstream media right now. They've been giving him, we used to have a thing in this country called the Fairness Doctrine, where if any candidate appeared on television his opponent had to get equal time. We didn't see that at all in this election cycle. And it's a sham when you consider the amount of time Trump has gotten versus the amount of time Bernie Sanders has gotten. That's indicative of something poisonous and really unhealthy for a democracy. We're putting out a narrative that seems to be motivated by ratings and salacious entertainment. Oh, he's just joking. He's just a comedian. He's just a TV personality. Bullshit. He's a dangerous person.
Voter suppression and news suppression have to go together because you've got to keep it quiet. Right? And by the way, one thing about the term voter suppression, when someone hijacks your car, it's not car suppression. Someone hijacks your vote. Okay, you can use the term suppression. I call it thievery. This is the new thing. Double voters, people voting. According to Donald Trump, there are people voting many, many times. Multiple voters. You go to jail for 5 years. Have you arrested anyone, Donald? Have your minions arrested anyone? No. But the Secretary of State of Kansas, Catherine Harrison, 2016, he's created a list of suspected double voters in 29 states, almost all of them, interestingly, GOP-controlled election systems. 29 states. And what they've done is that they've found people by matching the voting records who voted twice. You know how many suspects there are for this felony crime? 7,200,000 people on their suspect list who will all be subject to losing their vote by November. We figure 1 million votes by November. They already removed 41,000 in the swing state of Virginia. Who? They wouldn't give me the list because they're criminals. And you can't get the list of criminal suspects in the middle of an FBI investigation. But I got it. And I'll show you something. I have like about 3 million names, including, here's a good one for you. By the way, the worst double voter in America is some guy named Jose Hernandez. And the worst female multiple voter is named Maria Hernandez. Okay, like for example, right here, Maria. I feel like Joe McCarthy saying, I've got documents here, but I really do. So this guy will down, you can see Maria Isabel Hernandez. Maria Isabel Hernandez is supposed to be the same voter as Maria Cristina Hernandez. Now, Maria Cristina and Maria Isabel are both going to lose their votes. Because supposedly it's the same person who voted twice. What's their evidence? First name, last name. Who has same first name, last name? What's the legacy of slavery? A lot of people named James Brown and Michael Jackson. What is the legacy? What is our story? What is our story of immigration in the United States? A lot of people named Mien Rodriguez Hernandez. Okay? Now, that's what's happening in America.
And
I'm going to just add one final...
said that as well. That's the same thing in the Asian community.
And by the way, this is the first time that they have gone after the Asian community. We're working with Asian Americans advancing justice because Asians are suddenly, when they get in the voting booth, they turn black. 75% of Asians now vote Democratic. I don't give a damn about electing some damn Democrat. But I do care about counting the votes, and I'm going to want to tell you why something special. I'm a lump from here, too. I went 1 quarter before things went wrong. But I come from a place that's about 12 million miles from here, called Pacoima, Sun Valley. I grew up right next to the sewage, between the sewage plant and the garbage dump. And that's why I'm here and why I had to go to London to tell the story of the people, I grew up with. And if you survived Vietnam and you came back, the last thing they're going to let you do is vote. And that's my story. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm making this film. And that's why we're going to tell the truth on them, no matter how much they try to suppress the suppression news. Thank you very much.
Greg. You are a dynamo, and I've seen you out there doing your thing, and, you know, Tim's getting flack for it, but it's like, there is serious election fraud happening. And, you know, to have your journalism there behind it to really point the finger and say, it's not just now, we're not just decrying it now because we're whiny babies and we want our president, you know, and we want our candidate to win. No, this is a serious problem when you're talking about a campaign and a situation where, when you're talking about big oil, when you're talking about money and politics, what you're talking about is a lot of people who have a lot of power and a lot of influence, and they're wielding it, but they also have a lot of money, and that money comes from profiting, oftentimes off of people suffering. From the private prison complex to environmental injustices to deportation centers and detention centers to, you know, I mean, it's just the thing that they would draw the line and stop at the point of messing with an election is just naive. And this has been going on for many, many years, and it's happening all around the world. And it's time for us to wisen up. And I think we are a very wise generation because we get to look back on the slavery movement, and we get to look back on the suffragette movement, and we get to look at the environmental movement, and we get to look back and go, no, this isn't the same thing as McGovern or Nader or any of those different things, because we have a perspective. We're on the other side of the other century. And we're putting all of that into context, and we remember and we recognize that even though you want us to just think the meme of Martin Luther King doing that beautiful I Have a Dream speech, that was all like coordinated and perfectly done, no, that was a tremendous act of civil disobedience. It was a distortion. It is what we're seeing right now with Black Lives Matter going, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to be loud and I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to make sure that you film me, because for some reason in the Baltimore riots you'll film a CVS burning and play that 24/7 because you just want to make everyone seem like they're just angry and not actually talk about what they're angry about. And this generation is online and we're talking to each other and we're sending each other messages, and we have people who have journalistic integrity who are pushing those messages out even though they're unpopular. And we have people who are willing to put themselves and their careers on the line and go, this is important. And if you want to say you want to boycott me over it, then fine. But this is bigger than me. This is about all of us. We're talking, we're connecting, we are going, yes, net neutrality is going to be an issue after this election because people are not happy that we're still talking to each other and still organizing. This is what the fight must go on, no matter what. That is the answer.
Wow. I'm glad we watched that. Nice grab, Scott. Wherever that came from. That said a lot of truth in that thing. Are you muted?
No, I don't think so.
No, there was a couple things in there that were that was pretty big. That's why we do what we do. She's talking about us. She's talking about TYT. She's talking about Free Speech TV and Democracy Now! And The Humanist and Sane Progressive and Tim Black and Nicole Sandler. Ben Dixon. She's talking about us. She's talking about the truth tellers. She's talking about the big difference. I'm reading an article that was dropped in here, Common Dreams. It's not part of the rundown, everybody, but I think it's important to read a little bit of the text of this together. Let me pull it up here because it's interesting. I had forgotten that this happened, but Scott, do you recall that a month ago the chairman of the DNC sat down with Jake Tapper and asked him to stop showing the superdelegate count primaries? I remember it happening. I just forgot. You know,
I don't remember that.
I'd like to find the video.
Stop. When I asked her about it, she said that there's nothing she could do about how they report it. I think that's what she said there in the interview.
Interesting. I'm looking at this news. This is reporting in Common Dreams, and we can get that article dropped.
A month ago was too late.
I know. Oh, absolutely. A month ago was too late. A month ago was too late. But the thing is, they ignored it anyway. And Tapper reacted like, "What? Are you kidding me?" And then Tapper was it was a double idiot. Sorry, I can't stand Jake Tapper. I can't stand any of those bobblehead propaganda fucktards. But Clinton and media outlets are still counting superdelegates in voter tallies, despite pleas from DNC exec. This is by Sean King, written June 1st. more and more, I like Sean King. Apparently, he was embroiled or is embroiled in some controversy of some kind. I have no idea what it is. I don't care.
But the damage is done already on the superdelegate.
I'm not denying that at all. I just I just want to read this section here because this is how King interprets what went on here. It says, not on a hot mic or during a commercial break, but live on the air, Louis Miranda, in no uncertain terms, told Jake Tapper that the media should not be including them. Talking about the
I think that Debbie Wasserman Schultz said it. I thought.
I'm just quoting. We'll have to find it. We'll have to find the tape. Miranda said, one of the problems is the way the media reports them. Any night that you have a primary caucus and the media lumps the superdelegates in that they basically polled by calling them up and saying, who are you supporting? They don't vote until the convention, and so they shouldn't be included in any count. Tapper, seemingly shocked by the candid honesty of Miranda, then asked, but when do our totals, do you think it's okay to include them? When do we do our totals? Do you think it's, I said, but when we do our totals, do you think it's okay to include them? Miranda then doubled down and completely blew my mind. Not yet, he said, because they're not actually voting until the convention late in July, and they are likely to change their mind. So the quote is not yet, because they are not actually voting. So this is according to Sean King. I did not see this clip. I just remember that there was something going on that they were told stop DNCs. It was a really quick report that DNC says stop putting to delegates. Scott.
Now I wish I interviewed Louis Miranda in the spin room. He was always in the spin room at every debate. I just never.
Shit.
You know, maybe I didn't know.
maybe we can get him on. You're absolutely right. The damage was done at the end of May when Bernie announced. That was when the damage was done, because from that moment on, they decided we are not going to give a fuck about this guy. And we are not going to cover him equally. And I think it's funny, was it Tim Robbins that mentioned the fairness doctrine? We used to have this thing called the fairness doctrine. Yeah, Ronnie Reagan got rid of the fairness doctrine. Okay? I talk about it all the time. Tim, it's been gone for a long fucking time. It was gone in 1986. We're bitching about it now? We're bitching about it now because in 1986, apparently nobody gave a shit. I wasn't old enough to vote.
I think people complained when it went out.
I'm sure they did. I would love to know, since I don't know the history of it, what the reason was, why they said it was a good thing. I want to know why you would repeal something called the fairness doctrine. I want to know how that one got worked by our Congress. Who got paid? It was the Reagan government, so who got paid for that one, you know?
Just logically, if you're a Republican Party and you got tons of money to spend on ads, then you want to be able to put those ads on without the network having to put on a response to your ads.
Nice.
Now you can buy the spot and they don't have to go the other side.
Right. That's right. I remember that. Oh my God, that's so true. They don't have to run an opposing ad. It used to be like they had to do the, oh fuck. I forgot. Jesus. It just can't, and that's how and that, my friends, is how we had Fox News born. Because they were able to be 100% biased to whatever direction they fucking wanted. It didn't fucking matter. That's how the separation of news and media outlets occurred, basically. That's when they became propaganda agents. And Fox News was Fox News, Chris Matthews, I don't know, you were around them, but they were like the really first news for the sake of entertainment news propaganda.
So he wasn't on there, I know. Matthews wasn't around yet. He was working in Congress.
I can't believe he actually worked in government, too. I had no idea. It's weird seeing a lot of these people like Oliver North. Oliver North was the ball guy stooge for the whole Iran-Contra affair. And now he's on TV blabbing about whatever. I'm like, why is this dude? Why listen to this guy? Why didn't listen to this guy? He's a piece of shit who lied. And then they threw him under the bus, and that's why. They throw him under the bus like, look, just we'll throw you under the bus, wait 5 years, we'll get you a job.
And Jose Hernandez, you can only vote once. Let's see.
I don't even know what that is.
No, but that's what Greg Pallas was talking about.
Oh, yeah. Right. Jesus.
Take people out of the rolls because they voted twice because they had the same first and last name.
I know. It's fucking that 7 million. That was outrageous. Sorry. Here I am talking about some of the smaller outrageousness. That was just fucking ridiculous.
If I voted twice, I'd probably get caught because.
Yeah, you're right. You're a Galindez.
Galindez is with the first name Scott. My grandparents weren't happy with my grandparents on my father's side weren't happy with my name. There's no Spanish name for Scott, so they could probably catch me.
Oh man. We have any questions going on? Hey, we do have some questions. And then we're gonna move into something else. Rigged election has voters feeling helpless, unheard, and ashamed. Well, yeah. And we're gonna look at the anger chart. See where we fall on the revolution anger chart. But I want to make sure everything's okay. John, can I run Twitter after the next chunk of comments? Yes, let me get Twitter going. Sorry, everybody. They've been really cranking out the comments here, and I've been doing really bad at marking things down. Let me do that, everybody. Get things in a better place. And we will move on. All right, let's see. Perfect. Right there. It just won't run anything. Okay. So Rob B, I know this will not be popular, but I'm thinking, okay, so Bernie gets shut down. We all get a slap in the face. The vote is obviously stolen. What do we do from here? How do we move forward? That's a good question. That's where Bernie and the campaign have to do what they promised they said they'd do, and what Barack Obama failed to do, which is maintain a structure and keep a ground force, right? I mean, Scott, we've talked about this before, and there's enough power here. The big difference is we have a movement. We have a new party. Whether it's a new party that becomes the DNC or a new party that ends up having its own name at some point, it's not. I don't think it's going away. It's not going away. It's just so. For me, Rob B, the slow method, and that's what we were talking about earlier. The slow method is, regardless of what happens at the convention, and regardless of what happens at the election, we move forward. If we actually want to live, want to save the planet, want to make a new democracy, we move forward. There's no choice. And that's the slow way. Is the 1 foot in, the peaceful, methodical, and that's a good way as long as we can get there and not lose our planet's habitable zones in time.
Dean's campaign became Democracy for America.
There you go. So they became hacks, right?
Continued to build the Rainbow Coalition,
right? Right.
So what the mistake Obama made was, instead of keeping his organization separate, he turned it over to the DNC. The DNC runs Organizing for America, which was Obama for America, turned into Organizing for America.
Well, and if we see how well the DNC handles its own affairs, so I'm sure it's doing a fantastic job with Organizing for America. Electronuclei, John, how do I feel about current events in this election? Does it seem hopeless? No, actually. I don't think it's hopeless at all. I think it's frustrating. I think moving at the pace of government is frustrating as fuck. I think what's hopeless is the idea that we're going to get through the next 3, 4, 5 years with the same suburban rainbows and lollipops concept of America. Because things are changing fast, environmentally and economically, and nobody really can see all the big things as they get shaped together and what they mean coming down. And America's not going to be the same here really soon. And I'm waiting for that bubble to burst. Because to me, that's when, even if we're taking the inside route as Scott prefers, that's when it picks up the pace. Because then we will have a national movement. It will be shitballs. And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the, I think both Scott and I can agree on this, that we're waiting for the full, everybody needs to get together. The D-Day, it's fitting that this is June 1st, because I believe tomorrow is D-Day, right? June 2nd? June 2nd or June 6th? I always get the two mixed up. But the anniversary of D-Day is right around now, guys. And that was a oh shit, balls out national call. And that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm hoping that it happens. So when you ask me if it's hopeless, no, I don't think it's hopeless, because I think we're on the verge. And Scott, I want your pragmatist meter on this. I think we're on the verge of that cohesion. I just think we have to go through a little bit more turmoil to get there.
Right. I don't think we can just stick to the outside route.
No, I don't.
That's important. But you gotta go. You don't just go and vote and then complain about the Democrats. You gotta go and be the Democrats.
Yes. Yes, and this is what we were talking about yesterday. Passive, or the way I'm thinking of it, pacifist, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of people saying stuff in chat, in the comments about it. It was really cool. Is that you vote, you scream, and then you're done. We got a lot more work to do. We got a lot more work to do. Vote, scream, and then take a job in government.
Right, you gotta go to the county meeting and...
Yeah. Actively participate. And right now, participating in your government blows, because it functions like it's 1850. But we're going to fix that if you participate. Right? More people participate, and as you know, we do this for 6 months, and you get thousands of people participating. I guarantee they're all going to go, we're fixing this shit. It'll happen fast as soon as we get involved.
It's been 8 years, but I remember in Miami 8 years ago, the Miami Democratic Party couldn't get anything done because they never had a quorum at their meetings. So if a bunch of progressives started going to their meetings, they could take over.
Right? And look, we have proof that it works. We have testimony that this works. Okay? Look at what happened in Hawaii with DNC chair guy there. Okay? Look, or isn't that what it was? So I think that was it. Look at what happened. Tom Fegan has staged hog farm in Mason City, Iowa. They showed up with 500 people at the meeting of the city council, whatever it was. They were going to build the hog farm. They were going to basically turn over a whole bunch of stuff. This is how stupid the deal was. The government, the establishment city people in Mason City, and this is at a small level, right? I don't know how big Mason City is, it's a small town. But this is the example of, this is local government. This is people showing up, pitchforks in hand, right? Literally, they showed up, 500 people. And when I say pitchforks, I mean virtually. It's like Tom didn't raise a militia and show up in the town hall. I'm just saying, virtual pitchforks in hand, all right? They show up and they say, we don't want a hog farm. And we don't want to pay for it, because the deal was that the town would pay for the hog farm, and then the town wouldn't get shit. And the government officials were trying to make it come across like, this is a wonderful deal. We're going to have jobs. Yeah, it brought a few jobs. Yay. Town was like, don't want them. 500 people shut down that deal. That's it. 500 people. Now, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than that to shut down the establishment. But the examples are there, and they're happening all over the place. And I know that Scott knows of many, many more. right? These are just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So there is hope. Does it work? But what? So I want to say something, Scott. That is an example of foot in, foot out to combine. Don't you think?
Right. And Tom's running for office. So.
Yeah. So you had the leader of this rebellion, the leader of this movement of force, this direct action, was to show up with 500 people and basically occupy the building. Nobody was hurt. There were no weapons involved. Brilliant. Do that in your town and city, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's fucking democracy. So this article that I want to talk about. Where are we at here, by the way? 9:47. Okay, we're not ready for a chase and burn yet. 2016 election has voters feeling helpless, unheard, and ashamed. I've said many of those words before, but this is what they're dragging this chart from. This is the original article here with a bunch of data, and I just want to look at this chart because this is what I'm talking about when I say the angry meter. Okay, when we talk about where people's feelings are at. Americans most frequently describe their feelings about the 2016 presidential election as frustrated, interested, helpless, and angry. That, to me, is a beautiful stew for political revolution, and if that doesn't work, revolution. Right? Now, I kind of agree with Scott here that we are still way far into the comfy zone here, because we're only 70% frustrated, and we're only 52% angry. When we get that 52% up to around the 70% mark, 80% mark, without seeing a lot of change, things get bad.
Well, the numbers are higher on not being happy with the electoral system.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. They haven't had the check.
And like the survey that this article's, it's an Associated Press poll, and a full 90% of voters lack confidence in the country's political system, while 40% went so far as to say that the two-party structure is seriously broken. 70% of voters, including equal portions of Democrats and Republicans, said they feel frustrated about the 2016 election. Oh, you read that part?
Yeah.
And on the issue of superdelegates, elected officials and Democratic elites, there was the percentages.
I know it's not good. I'm looking at the superdelegates.
53% of voters say the Democrats' use of superdelegates is a bad idea, while just 17% support the system.
There you go. 53%, that's a majority. A majority of Democrats don't want superdelegates. 70% say, okay, what do you think the chairman of the Democratic Party is going to do? They're not going to change that. Oh, well, the majority of you don't like superdelegates. Fuck you. That's kind of the antithesis of the Democratic Party right there. And that's why everybody, Steph's beautiful card today, as a hashtag from somebody I saw post in Twitter last night during the rally, and I thought it was great. The DNC left me. Okay. I'm all about, I don't give a shit about the fucking party, but I'm all about being a Democrat. Okay. Not just in name only, but a Democrat in practice. And the Democratic Party left us. There is no Democratic Party leadership because they don't believe in democratic ideas anymore. There is no Bernie Sanders and us as outsiders. We're actually the party. We're on the inside, folks. The outsiders are the ones that think they're still part of the Democrats. They're actually dinos, Democrat in name only. I love how these new terms come up with like there used to be like Scott back in the past. There used to be like different names for different parties they come up with. Yeah. Dino. I don't think have they ever used that one before? Is that one from the past?
Yeah.
Is it? Is it really?
Yeah.
How old is it? You know.
I've heard it for 20 years or.
Okay, so listen to that. Scott's heard that term for 20 fucking years. That's awesome. I love these things. The history of this stuff is amazing sometimes.
And also, the survey found that only 37% are feeling hopeful about the 2016 election.
Jeez.
23% are excited, and just 13% say the presidential election makes them feel proud.
Right. I don't feel proud about this. I'm embarrassed. It's an embarrassment. The way Americans, I've been embarrassed. Well, I've been embarrassed by this country for a long time, the way our government conducts itself. But those aren't good numbers. But Scott, I'm going to ask you one question. Does it matter? It doesn't. None of this information matters to anybody except the American people. It certainly doesn't matter to the establishment. The government doesn't give a fuck about these numbers, do they?
Well, I think one of the reasons that people don't have the pitchforks is, even though there's some complain, there are problems with the economy, for the most part, people are comfortable. It's not, people are, for the most, there are pockets of Appalachians and in the inner cities where people are hungry or going hungry and stuff, but for the most part, the majority of Americans, they're fed, they got all their needs.
We haven't bottomed out yet, you're saying?
Yeah,
so we're on an addiction bottom, and we're on an ignorance addiction. We haven't bottomed out yet. We're not enough of us poor and starving, and it's sad that we would have to get to that point. The whole concept of the government in the first place, as it was derived, was to prevent it from reaching this point again. Whoops. We failed.
They think, well, things aren't the great. It could be better, but it could be a lot worse, I think, is where a lot of people are at.
That's a great. That's been the mentality on climate change, which is why we're the fucking frog in a pot, and we're gonna die. It could be worse. Let's wait till it gets worse and then realize we can't fucking fix it now, dumbass. You know, and I hate to say it, that's kind of where we're at with the government. We're at this point where we need to fix it. If we don't fix it now, you know, the longer we wait, the harder it becomes. I think, and I'm preaching to the choir with Scott here, because Scott has waited for decades longer than I have to see people get their shit together, and so has Bernie Sanders. I don't know how that man is sane. I don't know how he could. You think about him and go watch any of the 1,000 compilation tapes of Bernie saying statements from, the 80s on.
I remember in the late 80s, I was working on an initiative for nuclear disarmament, and I went to a meeting of Democratic Socialists of America in D.C. to get their endorsement on this petition, and they were talking about Bernie then. They were like, I think he might have run for governor that year and lost the governor's race, and they were saying that if he had run for Congress, we would have got him into Congress. But he shouldn't have run for governor. They were complaining about where Bernie. But that was in Washington D.C. They were already talking about Bernie, who was in
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. He was already pissing people off and making waves. Where are we going to stick him? How are we going to keep this guy quiet? What committee can we
No. It was Democratic Socialists of America. They were complaining that he shouldn't have run for governor. He should have ran for Congress. Was what they were.
Oh, I see. They were like, we need to get you in here faster. Okay, cool. No, that's right. Sorry, I misunderstood. I assumed everybody was always against Bernie. Really, he tells the truth. That's not what they're looking for. Yeah. But apparently there was a small group of rebels.
I think the first time I saw Bernie, he was on a panel with Studs Terkel.
I've heard that name. See, you go way back. You know so much more about this shit than I do. So much more. I just want to correct George. I am not at all. If you mistook my sarcasm, I am not at all saying that we need to be all chillax about climate change and sit back and wait to die. My God, if you think that's my message, help me. I was being sarcastic. I'm saying that America is the frog in a pot, where you frogs will sit in a pot of water as it boils and not get out in time. And we have done that. We did that 40 years ago. I know. So we're kind of fucked. I think it's time for Nico to come in and tell us where the hell Bernie going to be. How about that, Nico?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So
he had that conference this morning on fracking. That was at 9:15, and then he had another conference. He has another conference at 1 today. That's the Palo Alto Community Panel with the local Asian American and Pacific Islander leaders, and that is with special guest Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, and that is at the Cubberley Community Center Fields, and then he's going to just jump adjacently to that to have his rally, also in Palo Alto right there, so that shouldn't take him long to get from one place to another, but the doors open for that at 11:30, and the program starts for that at 2:30 Pacific time. Then he's going to be in Davis later on in the afternoon. That's going to be at the Hutchison Intramural Field. The doors will open at 5 p.m. for that, and program will start at 8 p.m. Pacific time for that. Then he is going to be in Modesto on the 2nd, and that is Thursday, tomorrow. And he's going to be at the Modesto Center Plaza. The doors will open at 9 a.m., and the program will start at noon Pacific time. Then, also on 6/2, he's going to be in Chico, California. That is going to be at the Chico's Laxon Auditorium at CSU Chico. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. Program at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for that. Then he's going to be in Fairfield on Friday the 3rd. That's going to be at the Solano Community College Quad doors will open at 11:30 and program will start at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. And that's as far as we have from the press releases on the Bernie Chaser. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube and social media pages. Join the Gen PR TV email list that we now have, which is awesome. It's bringing us a bunch of great new volunteers, so thank you guys so much. And if you can help us out with the bills, we have a GoFundMe, so go to that. And that's your Bernie Chaser. Thank you.
Hey, Nico, thanks. And do you want to tell everybody about Dan Roll?
Oh, yes, awesome. Dan Roll, which he's the guy that was on our show, on this show actually, with you for talking for like half an hour about the Nevada thing. Gave us a lot of really good information. He's going to be on We the People this week on Thursday, so we're going to have an hour-long awesome conversation with him. He's the progressive champion of Nevada, so he's an awesome guy, so can't wait to interview him.
All right, thank you so much, Nico.
You're welcome.
You got and yeah, we're doing the earlier rally today mainly because I have to get out of here by 4:30, by 4:15 actually. Yeah, I have to be out of here. So just so everybody knows, when we do that rally, I may have to leave, and if somebody else shut down the event while I'm gone, it would be remotely. So, but let's hope Bernie starts on time, and you know how that goes. We'll see. Anyway, we're doing the earlier rally. That's today.
Students are on, aren't they?
What?
Students are out. That's too bad. Palo Alto's where Stanford is, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that would be nice. It's a nice area. We have a beautiful car from Stanford, too. He's so amazing. Has this ready for us. There it is. Palo Alto, California, before it suffers catastrophic climate. Well, it's already there. Never mind. Sorry, everybody. Not to be a downer about California. I love the place. I had to leave it, though. My health was impacted, honestly. And that's why we left in the end of 07. All right. Let's look at stuff that we don't want to talk about at all, but we're going to talk about it. I was going to run this Hill piece, but it's two pieces come out about the military. I'm just be upfront and honest. Not a big fan. of the military. I don't think we really need one quite as big. I think it could be cut by 2/3 at least. The Defense Department, the Congress, when our Senate wants to cut money, they out of the military, they take it out of people, because you certainly wouldn't want to stop building the weapons, because that takes money out of the 1%'s pocket. But cutting it out of our people, that's always good. So here's wanting to cut money by taking from the troops that get to be in housing off base. That's generally service people with families, right? They want to cut their budgets. They want to make sure they would cut that. In the meantime, Obama wants $1 trillion to completely revamp all of the missiles and bombs and shit that we already have. $1 trillion. Somehow, that's okay. Then I guarantee you that'll just run right through and be passed. Nobody's going to blink an eye. There'll be some grumbling. Bernie Sanders will say this is retarded. Sorry, fucktarded. May use the correct slur. But it'll pass. Because in our government, military gets whatever they want, always. There's one provision in here that one senator is like, oh, we shouldn't do these short-range nuclear cruise missiles. Yeah. I don't know. I have nothing against the human beings that are currently in the military doing their jobs. I would urge anybody considering it to please not go into the military as a career. And it's because of things like this. This is a new report out from The Intercept today. And this is Jeremy Scahill. I probably pronounced your name wrong. Scahill.
It's Scale.
Scale, thank you. So, this is an Internal Defense Department investigation into a raid. This happened back. I remember a blip about this. Whoops. We murdered some civilians. But what's happened here is, and I'll be honest, I don't care about the judgment here. What happened here was the military decided that none of the soldiers acted wrongly when they murdered this family in a compound that was not Taliban, that was just hanging out, sitting down. This is a family that was hanging out. And the military went in, gung-ho, decided it was Taliban camp, shot everybody, tried to cover it up. The guy was actually fighting on our side. It's this guy and his family. At about 3:30 a.m., when the family heard noises outside their compound, Dowd and his 15-year-old son, fearing a Taliban attack, went out to investigate. Both were immediately hit with sniper fire. All the children were shouting, "Dowd is dead, Dowd is dead." His brother-in-law recalled when he visited in 2010. Within a matter of minutes, they were having a family celebration, by the way, and it became a massacre. It was at the hands of United States troops over there fighting a war for oil that we never should have been involved in the first place. All right, let's play this clip.
ini başlamamız, ini başlamamız, ini sorulmaz, ini novasayımız. Şuna sasora mı yakın mı burada? İzi gel burada hukur mu yakın katil kedi?
Seriously?
I mean.
Sorry, everybody, reloading that. Obviously, we're having issues here.
بچه من است اینی بچه من است اینی نوای سروی من است اینی نواسه من است چون شساره هم دخل من برده یه دیگر مرده خب کنم دیگر شب قتل کردی
یکی امی زن پیاده رو یکی امی همشهره دختر ای هر دویش یکیش 4 ماه یکیش 5 ماه پیاده
همه ندار
ما یک محفل خوشی جور کرده بودیم به خاطر شمشک و این مهمانه رو طلب کرده بودیم که سال هم بودیم زوری داریم و این محفل جور کرده بودیم که محفل دوام داشت و احکم بود و اصطلاح جایزی بود اصطلاح بود امریکایا اول ساعت 3 بجه کردن با 4 بجه چی کرده طالبان هم کی است کی که در داخل آوری داخل شد و در بام قماندان داود هم داشت شالا داشت و وقتی تکرار یا چیغ و فریاد و خلق قماندان داود تاس زد قماندان داود تاس زد
در اینجا که انداختیم در این مرحله دیگه سارانوال بیادر ما در این مرحله ظاهر در اینجا سال بود که شساره اینجا پایین بیرون نریم چرا میزنیم از این بام ضربه کرد در اینجا بیادرم ظاهر مو هم لگید شهید شد 3 تا سیاسر هم لگید یک خانم ما بود یک شمشیری بود یک بیادر داری دختر تایی من همی جای مرمی هاشت همی سیف موده جعفر کریم اینجایی شد
Was Mr. Dawood killed immediately, or did he live for a while after he was shot?
نه تو 7 بجه صبح زنده بود نه ممر کسی که داخل بود موجود بود یک او زنده بود یک دختر تایی موضوع نه ما شخصا میگفت ما خودمون میبریم تیارا رو میخوایم باز چاخوره گرفتم در زخمایشون یا زخمی بود که چرا میکشم سرای مرمی
You saw the U.S. forces take the bullets out of the body?
Go freedom. Doesn't make me proud to be an American. And I honestly don't hold the soldiers responsible. I hold the military-industrial complex responsible. I hold the officers that gave the orders to shoot responsible. I don't know who I don't know who thinks that any of this is okay. And the fact that Obama wants to increase or wants to revamp our entire arsenal of death, why? We should be the nation of peace, not the nation of war. And I have no idea what we're doing there. Resources, it's oil. It's all about the fossil fuel industry, really. And I'm one of those crazy guys that's going to keep shouting as loud as I can about the fact that the fossil fuel industry needs to be held for crimes against humanity. ExxonMobil needs to be liquidated. Their CEOs should be lined up against the wall and, in my personal opinion, delivered street justice. And we did this in Nuremberg with other individuals that had committed crimes against humanity. In my opinion, what ExxonMobil has done and our government's implicit cooperation with them and the media's silence on this and the agreement between all 3 of those entities, the media, the government, and ExxonMobil and the rest of the fossil fuel industry all worked together to create climate change denial and to make short-term profits over the next 40 years while they destroyed the planet. How do we hold them accountable? What is justice for planet killers? What is justice when your government sends troops around the world, murders families, tells you it's in the name of freedom and democracy, but really, it's just about more fossil fuels that are destroying the planet? What does that make your government? What does that make our government? There are Bond films with criminals that do less. There are comic books with master villains that do less. And they're annihilated. They're destroyed. They're put in captivity forever. They're whatever happens to super evil villain people. Our government is a super evil villain, and we perpetuate violence around the world. We create it, we sell it, we manufacture it, we lie about it, and we do this all in the name of greed.
It's closer to the Bond movies than you think. We send mercenaries all around too. In fact, that's where Jeremy Scahill, he's a really good investigative reporter, and he did a lot on Blackwater.
Wow. Oh yeah, Blackwater. I remember hearing or learning a little bit about them during the whole Halliburton lovely times where they lost. Yeah. We are disgusting. We are drug runners. We are thugs. Our government is. Let me clarify. We the people. I think we're good people. I know we're good people because if we really understood what our government was doing, we would all just holy shit. What we are now. That's what we're doing now. We're all freaking our shit. We're fuck. Look what our government does in our name. That's what bothers me the most. It's in my name, right? They shit on my name. They shit on my ethics, on my morals, on my honesty, on all of us. And that's not selfish. Just saying, look, if you're going to represent me, that is not me. And I don't think it's any of us. That's the true message there. It's just it's not the way to be. Hey, I just want to say this. This is going to sound ridiculous. This is going to sound 5-year-old, but 5-year-old logic is really what we need to get back to these days. I don't know. Human being. To be. That's it. Why do we spend so much energy trying to stop other people, other humans, from being? Why? I don't understand. It's such a waste of our time, waste of our energy. Doesn't make any sense. Alright, before I move into some other stuff that's heavy, we're going to listen to something that I found very touching. And I know that other people have this fascination. You think about when somebody becomes famous, what happens to the family? What does the family think of that guy? And, rock stars. Like, I like The Voice. Scott likes The Voice. I don't know if you saw that piece the other day they did on, Scott on, that's Maroon 5. What's his name? I'm never going to remember his name. Adam Levine. And they had his dad come on, and his dad was saying things. And, it's just interesting. This is the reason I'm going down that line to segue into fact. This is Bernie's brother talking about Bernie, and it's very touching.
What does it mean to you to see your brother have this incredible success that he has had in this campaign?
Well, it's very strange. It's very deep. It's at this point I usually cry. I don't like the fact that I cry because I think of what it would mean to our parents.
What do you think your parents would think if they found out that you wound up becoming the most successful Jewish politician in American history?
They were very, very happy that I went to college. So the idea that their son would become a mayor, a congressman, a senator, president of the United States would not be within it. I'm just not. That's just not a thought that would ever cross their mind once again. And to me, I think it would be marvelous if I had a brother who's being very successful and doing great things. But to have a brother who's doing great things for the reasons he's doing it, with the possible impact that Bernard has. To have a brother who can make that kind of world difference is very hard to solve.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I like that. I would be, that would be pretty awesome. I was distracted there for a minute by a comment that came through about The Voice. I want to find it. It was something about billionaires. Paulie, John, I love if you do a segment once a week on billionaires and how they control the voice, like the voice of the show or the voice of the people. I have no doubt that billionaires control the voice of the people. As far as the show, look, it's an entertainment show. I have no doubt that everything is organized all the way up to the end, including the winner. That's how they work. Do you really think that these shows are, I mean, it's a production. That's what it's for. It's entertainment. So I don't want to take the magic out of it.
It's not billionaires and politicians that control the voice. It's the tweeners.
Right. And if you want proof, go look at who won recently. That's because it wasn't the overweight bearded guy who plays guitar.
Actually, that's not as true lately.
The Voice, the reason listen, The Voice itself is a groundbreaking show. I don't know if you guys understand why it's not trivial. The Voice in itself is a show that comes out of Denmark. And there are actually versions of it in various places around the world. You want to see something trippy-ass, go look up The Voice Thailand and watch some of those videos. That's some trippy shit. Okay?
Actually, it's gotten better.
Has it?
I mean, since they put limits in the amount of votes that people can make, it's gotten better. But when it was unlimited voting, that's my favorite Crystal Bauer sock. She lost to the guy with puppy dog eyes, and it's because there was unlimited texting, and those tweeners could text over and over.
But you're talking about American Idol, though?
That was American Idol.
Yeah. See, I'm talking about like a fundamental difference in. I know American Idol's gotten better. I know what you're saying, but what they had to do was leave the negative and go to the positive, and that was the difference. American Idol, when it came out, was The Voice, essentially the same kind of talent show, just but it was all about the negative, about the train wrecks, right? Simon Cowell, and that was terrible, and it was terrible, and The Voice, totally different paradigm, more of a socialist, evolved, civil paradigm about nurturing human beings, right? Because it's a blind audition that judges don't see the person, so they have to judge purely on the voice. And that's led to some very interesting choices. And the way they handle the entire situation is different. They
didn't have open auditions either.
Well, I know. What I'm saying is the entire program, the production is designed to be totally different. There's nothing negative ever said. All right? If they do offer criticism, it's constructive. I think you could have done this better, or I did notice that you struggled with this. Right? There's never a negative thing said at all. It's just, great job, thank you for coming on, next. All right? And that is a completely different effect on the crowd, a different effect on the overall show, and it's why the show is one of the most, if not the most popular thing going. All right?
Yeah, some of the train wrecks on Idol were pretty funny.
I don't deny that. I don't deny that for entertainment's value. Absolutely. Okay? But in terms of entertainment that I'd want to watch, if I'm going to apply a moral compass to my entertainment, I'm going to go with positive every day. Right?
Like the baggy pants guy, or pants on the floor.
I haven't. As soon as I found out The Voice existed, I stopped watching Idol. I haven't watched Idol in years. You watch Idol though because you're a big Crystal Bauer Sox fan. So we know the truth there. And Scott goes tours, takes pictures, and photographer. He gets all sorts of backstage access. He's having fun with that. Paparazzi for the Crystal Bauer Sox tour there. Scott is. All right, we're gonna cover. We're gonna move into, what are we at? 10:21. I got 8 minutes. This is not gonna go well. I got 8 minutes to slam in some climate data. You ready to soak your head with climate data? Right? Let's see. We got any more questions here? Hannah Bernana, the superdelegates are bought, so what makes anyone think they will change their minds at the convention? To keep their jobs, really. Keep their jobs. They're bought now, but that money's going to go. People confuse liberal with neoliberal. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Well, there are lots of great comments today. Thank you guys for having a great conversation. That's what this is about. Wow, a lot of great comments. Wow, we've got a long way to go. I got 8 minutes to get through all those comments? I don't think so. I have. Let's see how this goes. And I could run this over too. All right, we're going to get into environment, everybody, because it's environment. 188, thank you for being here. Bernie, last night, said something pretty definitive about fracking. Right? Let's just listen to that. Get that clear. Bernie on fracking. This was, I don't know if you saw the setting last night, but it was beautiful. To me, it looked like an inauguration. It was really, really nice. Somebody said that in chat too.
Right now in California and in many communities of this country, people are turning on the tap. They cannot drink the water because it is polluted and toxic. In my view, now is the time to end fracking. My state of Vermont was the first state in the country to end fracking, and if I have anything to say about it, we're going to end it in the other 49 states as well.
All right. They banned fracking in Vermont. Let's hope it holds. Supreme Court seems to be able to piss on that kind of stuff. So let's hope that holds. I don't know if Vermont's ban is any different than well, it is because it's a statewide. So that should be okay. Citywide, apparently the state can just tromp on that, as we've seen in Colorado. We're gonna talk to Mickey more about that fracking. I want to say something to George. George, I see your message about connecting with Tim Black and Sane Progressive when we're in Philly, and we'll do our best. But we don't work with Tim Black, and I've said that on the channel many times, that he prefers to work on his own. He's not interested in sharing his material with us. He's not interested in being on a program. So working with him will probably be difficult. Sane Progressive, I've said many, many times, if somebody can provide me a clip of hers that isn't 20 minutes of her just ranting, then I'll use it. But to date, all I keep getting are these really, really long pieces of her where she just goes off. And we already got somebody that does that on the show. So, that's why. And I know, and we've talked, Jesse, many times. There's no point in reaching. I've talked with Sane Progressives. Look, we've been doing this a year. And all I can say is there's not everybody hangs out, works together, and talks together. It's the way it is. She's got her thing. We've got our thing. We'll do our thing. We support them in their effort. They support us in ours. It's a good deal. All right. Last night's show, okay, we'll do. All right. Fracking stuff. Really quick. What's going on in the environment? We're just going to fly through some headlines. Fracking has contaminated drinking water. EPA now concludes this. This is back in 2015. And then Duke study. Rivers contaminated with radium and lead from thousands of fracking wastewater spills. This was what was referenced by Lee Camp the other day, and we actually had talked about it prior to that. And it's from 3,500 wells that they looked at. They're all leaking. They're all contaminated, and that's just in the Bakken fields. Pennsylvania fracking water contamination much higher than reported. Then we skip on to German floods. Extreme weather, some of that, what announcers like to call extreme weather. Oh, look at that. It's El Nino, yeah, and all the other L's that are put together to make extreme weather. Germany, 4 deaths, massive flooding. It's just going to get worse. Fracking fallout, 7 million at risk of man-made earthquakes. These are those earthquakes that the USGS or GA, whatever they are, and the fossil fuel industry has been saying, nope, not caused by man. First they said that they didn't even cause it. And then they said the earthquakes were so small it really didn't matter. Now they're like, whoops, we were wrong. This actually does cause a danger. And the earthquakes are now basically, they equate it to people, look at this, look at the subtitle. People in parts of Texas and Oklahoma now face the same earthquake risk as those in California. So, congratulations. You're making great strides in being more like a coastal city. One that's waiting for an impending earthquake that will destroy it. And the best part about fracking quakes is they're unpredictable. Unlike natural earthquakes, where we can kind of gauge what's going on with tension, these things we have no idea. Because you're basically sticking a bunch of nasty-ass chemicals in the ground under pressure. One of the scariest things that I read about all this stuff and the contamination of groundwater, I want you to think about this, folks. I wish I had drawn just a simple chart. Here's well water. So Earth is up here. We've got ground, people walking on the ground. You've got well water. You've got fracking water. Sometimes you have well water, fracking water, well water. This is what they're finding, is that they're putting fracking water in between our aquifer layers, and holy fuckballs, wouldn't you know it, shit's leaking between. Our government, it is allowing the fossil fuel industry to inject unknown chemicals. Bear in mind, Congress just said you don't have to disclose those chemicals. They're proprietary. Whatever the hell you're putting into the ground between our aquifers, we don't want to know. People don't need to know. And it's leaking into those aquifers. I ask anybody who still thinks fracking is okay to please give me a call, join this program. Just tell me where you are. Let's talk. Because you're an idiot, and you're wrong. And you must be getting paid to say it. We are facing, when Bernie Sanders says we are facing a water crisis, he is pointing to the water wars that we will be having. Because Nestle is buying up all of the water, along with many other corporations. And what's happening, if you notice, is the water we're supposed to get for free is becoming poisoned and contaminated. So if you want to get water, it's now owned by a corporation and comes out of a plastic bottle. That's pretty fucking scary. When you think about rights being taken away, your right to clean water has been removed in the United States and replaced with your right to purchase clean water. You want to talk about capitalism as an ideology, as an oppressive force? You're not going to have clean water soon in this country. Many people don't have clean water in this country. And now, in the worst parts of this country, you're getting it handed for free. Like in Flint, they bring in truckloads of what? Plastic bottled water. It's fucking ridiculous. While they argue over pennies to fix shit, it's okay to be handing out that Nestle product that you're going to be buying down the road because you won't be getting free water anymore. They're going to take that away just like they took away all our other rights while we sat passively and wondered what the fuck. The reason we have to kill fracking is so complex. We're going to die on the planet anyway, but yeah. I know, not happy news. Here is some happy news. Believe it or not, there is some happy news. This is direct action working again. Another example. Check this out.
Exclusively reported on the struggle of a Native American tribe in North Dakota to change the route of a Dakota Access oil pipeline. After our reports, 3 federal agencies responded to the tribe's concerns and met with members. Now the tribe may have received the biggest boost in hope yet, because federal authorities in Iowa have suspended the construction of the Dakota Access. RT's Alexei Arashevsky tells us why.
The Dakota Access Pipeline, designed to carry more than 500,000 barrels of crude oil a day through 4 states once it's completed, may after all see some major alterations. It was signed off on by all 4 states in March, but now the first step towards changing it was taken by a federal agency last week in northwest Iowa. On Thursday, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service told the Iowa Department of Natural Resources it revoked its approval of the pipeline construction permit issued in March, mainly for 2 reasons. The fact that the pipeline's initial route
cross the Big Sioux River and also threatened, as it has been revealed, the Native Americans' burial sites in the state considered sacred by the Upper Sioux tribe in Iowa. This effectively means that months of pressure from local grassroots organizations and tribe members have paid off. Now the company building the pipeline cannot proceed with any activities in Iowa, pending investigation and possibly realignment of the route, something which may take up to 6 months, according to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers spokesperson. But what about the concerns of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in North Dakota that we exclusively reported on a few months ago? Now, in their case, the proposed pipeline route would not only cross the Missouri River and also violate their sacred burial grounds as well. And they see the fact that it crosses the river as the threat to their existence. Well, after our reporting of their worries, 3 federal agencies forced a meeting between the tribe and the Corps of Engineers at the end of April, where the Native Americans managed to voice their concerns and send their message across. The Corps of Engineers has been expected to produce its decision by the end of May, yet so far there has been no word from them. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe lauded the decision made in Iowa, but blasted the fact that Dakota Access construction is already underway in their state. In a statement, the tribe's chairman said that the company's actions, illegal as he called them, may prove to be a costly exercise in futility. They are still positive, though, that the 3 federal agencies, including the EPA, Department of Interior, and Historic Preservation Office, are in agreement with them and will force the alteration of the route. The Energy Transfer Company already said it would agree to such alteration in Iowa if this is something that the federal authorities require. Alexei Roshevsky, RT, reporting from Washington, D.C.
I told you, there's positive stuff. That's positive stuff. Mostly. I mean, we haven't seen the final verdict, and they're going to reroute the shit. It's still going to carry oil across the country, which is going to leak. 90,000 gallons by Shell in the ocean, California, another 20,000 in the mountains, California, all within a week. Good job, Shell. Let's keep fracking. Let's keep going for those fossil fuels. Oh, we lost a camera. Lost one of my cameras. Oh, I got more. Hang on, we're not done. This is another article that Scott dropped in from RSN. And the title, if you're not freaked out about the climate, the title doesn't bother you. If you're freaked out about climate already, the title will scare the shit out of you. The world is about to install 700 million air conditioners. I'm not even sure I want to know what that means for climate, really. It's not good. You know who it's good for, though? I'm going to cut to the chase. So what this basically says, when it gets down with all the math, is that we've got a whole bunch of countries, think about it, India, China, a lot of nations, Chile, that are in a surging middle class. What does that mean? That means industrialization, which means electricity, which means luxuries. China has a middle class. China has a better middle class than we do. It's really fucking funny. China has a thriving middle class, and they want air conditioning. And they're buying it. And they're putting it everywhere. And same with India. And same with Chile. Same with a lot of places. And this, of course, when the world isn't moving directly towards renewables, when most of the energy for this stuff is going to be provided by fossil fuel, this is a big boom for those who are not interested in leaving fossil fuel for renewables. So, who makes out on this? Well, we don't, because our climate is fucked already, and that's not going to make it any better, because that's going to be powered by oil. Fossil fuel industry. And that is a small number. They say that there's another number in there that it's like 1 billion plus air conditioners by some date. It's ridiculous. We're not even going to be alive by that date. By 2050, if we keep going, and I'm making this statement now, this will not be a very habitable planet at all. Shit will be fucked. So I don't even know why anybody talks about 2100. 2100. That's not a year we'll reach as a species right now. Not even close. Not even close. We don't have time for that. I'll run that another time. We ran that. That was good. don't want to run that either. I had like too much stuff. I always load up too much stuff. So much news. So much good news. And apparently my my old server, I have to replace this server. It's running very slow. There is good news though. I'm going to talk about this, and then we're going to go out with this nice little clip. This is the good news. Check this out. This new neighborhood will grow its own food, power itself, and handle its own waste. Now, this is not science fiction. All of these things exist. They've existed for years. As a matter of fact, I sold components of some of these systems in the landfill industry, primarily the biomass facility systems. I was talking with Jesse about these earlier. This is in Amsterdam, I believe. Amsterdam suburb, if you're and your dining room might be next door to an indoor vegetable garden. But this is what we should be working on. I'm wishing it would scroll and work, but it's choosing not to do that for me today. I told you I got problems with the server. I'm trying to show you a picture of this house here. Down here. Where'd it go? Okay. See that house? No, you can't see that house. This thing's moving everywhere. There. That. I'd like that for my living room. That's a greenhouse that extends to the second floor outside of their house, and it's a community garden space. This is where we need to go, and there are other people that have been echoing this kind of thing for a long time. It's the idea that cruise through the comments. That's awesome. Human beings are supposed to live tribally in smaller communities. The reason we stopped doing that was because of mass distribution centers, capitalism, and too many. We got away from the community that was balanced. We need to put that balance back in. That involves balancing with our environment, and that's exactly what these communities are doing. We should have started this shit a long time ago. This is how Native Americans live, folks. Pre-industrial age. This is essentially what we're getting back to. What we're doing is taking what Native Americans do and many other cultures still know and do, which is dumb American capitalist idiot dino thinking knuckle draggers that don't get it. You live in one with your system because you're part of the system. You can't remove yourself from the system. You're an organism within the system that is this planet. And so you need to build a community. It can involve technology. It can be integrated with the most brilliant technology ever. We're smart. That's great. But it also needs to be integrated with the environment, because that's part of us. This is our fishbowl. Why are we shitting in our fishbowl? Ew. So this is beautiful. What this is. This whole idea of let's rebuild these communities. We have the technology, biomass regenerators. When I say we have the technology, let me explain. For years now, more than a decade, we've had the ability to take all organic mass and inorganic matter, a lot of inorganic matter, anything that's made breaks down into components of oils, which most plastics do. Okay, and it goes into a biomass system, but there's basically these giant ovens that cook the stuff down efficiently, break it down into base components. Those base components can be separated and reused. Right? That's the simplest way to say it. All of these base components. So in these communities that they're doing this in, and Iceland uses these things. They're basically a thermal oxidizer with very special principles involved. But communities use these already. The idea here is that your waste is taken care of. Whatever your waste is, it goes back into being fuel, because this is the way the planet works anyway. That's a basic principle of physics. Energy doesn't disappear, it just changes form. It's either stored or being used, it's in a different form. Sometimes we know that form, sometimes we don't know the form. That's what we're doing here. Changing the energy. That's the whole silly concept of renewable. That's all it is. That's all it is. We have the technology to do this today. We need to take that military budget that's ridiculous, that military budget that perpetuates war around the world, and we need to spend it on us, our communities, and turn them into these places fast. They're calling this the Tesla of communities. I love it. I want to live in one. I don't know about Amsterdam, though, because sea level's going to rise. I hope they're building these things up. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? The best is fuel in the ground. What do you mean by that, Woody? Leaving it there? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. It's 10:42. I ran long, everybody. Thank you for being here so much. Let's see if there's any more questions. Comment mods, thank you. You kicked ass today. No, we're good. Remember, we're doing that rally here real soon. Rally's coming up here. I don't know what it is. 2:30, right? 2:30 start? It's 2:30 start. Let's check. I think it's 2:30 start. We'll see you for that rally. And we're going to go out with, I like this. We're going to go out with Revolution. Feel the burn. So Sandy and Richard Riccardi. And this is just another great example of homegrown grassroots effort for Bernie Sanders, effort for the movement, the political movement that is us saving our planet, saving democracy, and making this world a better place for everybody. If you're not a member of that party, I don't know what you're doing. Feel the burn, everybody. We'll see you soon.